Well, BlockFi is the next to fall. They've filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. No surprise there, but still not a great sign when some of the bigger centralized exchanges are going under. On today's show, Kevin and I are going to get into that. We're going to discuss some of the news in the crypto and traditional financial markets. Before we get going, please like today's stream, subscribe to our channel. That means a ton to us. Appreciate anyone who watches our show. Nothing we say today is financial advice. Please make your own buying and selling decisions. Kevin and I are just a couple of guys who really like talking crypto. So, Kev, kind of news that we were all expecting. This was not much of a surprise. It didn't seem like anyone was going to come in at the last second and save BlockFi. And now my credit card rewards are going to go to zero. So that's pretty devastating.
I'm sorry, JWeb.
Yeah. I like $300 worth of Bitcoin on there. I'm broken up about this one, man.
Did you see that?
I was making, I was saving my bigger credit card purchases until like Bitcoin was at lower prices. And I was like, oh, I'll get a little bit more Bitcoin this way. It's like so smart of me. Wrong. So here we are.
The one Wall Street Journal article where they interviewed the guy who had money on FTX and it was only $800. Like out of all the people in the world they interviewed this guy. His name was Drake. You're going to be the new Drake. BlockFi.
I can't believe that. I mean, between the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, all of these puff pieces on SBF, like, you can't find a single crypto reporter for any major publication who hasn't done a story about how great of a guy SBF is and how this was just a terrible accident and it's not his fault and all this other bullshit. And then we keep getting stories every day as well about, oh, here's someone else he donated money to. Oh, here's someone else he was in bed with. Like, it's just so disgusting and just shines a terrible light. As if, and what pisses me off the most, not to get political, I was not a Donald Trump guy, but they're making him look right. And that just pisses me off. Like, God damn it.
Yeah, it's definitely seems like it's a one-party thing when you see the guys that he was funding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then you see, like, and when Trump would call everything fake news, and I was like, oh shit, I guess he was right. Like, son of a bitch. I don't like admitting that guy's right about something.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely really shitty reporting. I think bottom line, Alameda, FTX, shit traders, just the worst trading I've ever seen.
Oh my God. Like, they were stacking the deck and they were still losing.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Easy. You suck.
I mean, I feel like I am not a crypto trader, but I think that given that situation, all the resources they had, they're built. I mean, it was like with online poker when there was some of the online poker cheating scandals back in the day of, you could see other people's cards.
Yeah.
But that'd be like that if you were still losing. Like, that's just absolutely crazy. So BlockFi is the next domino to fall. Any thoughts on, other companies? We've seen concerns around Genesis lending and in turn Gemini. We've seen a lot of concern around the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust and how poorly that's going. If you had to bet, like, who do you think is at risk next?
Oh my goodness. So my theory, and again, this is a theory, this is not financial advice, it's not FUD. I don't want anyone to make any emotional decisions off what I'm going to say. I think a ton of people are overexposed to one asset right now, and I think that asset has a very good chance of getting destroyed in the next few weeks, and that's Solana. I know I've said it before on the show, but I think we saw with FTX and other exchanges that were using Solana as collateral. If that thing tanks and those loans get called back, anyone who had exposure to that is going to get absolutely wrecked. And there's been some reports, again, I'm not going to say anything because I really don't want to spread misinformation at all. But BitBoy Crypto over the weekend went off on a rant about Solana too. And he was saying that during the blackouts, that was when Alameda was money laundering, so it wouldn't show up on the blockchain. Wild accusation, don't know if it's true, but for other reasons, I still have not touched Solana, and that's one that I think could be the dagger for a lot of companies.
I mean, for those who are watching, if you aren't following BitBoy Crypto Crypto on Twitter, and you haven't seen his he went down to the Bahamas. He was like taking pictures of Sam's car and the stuff on the inside and putting it out there. And then he was near Sam's apartment. Like, it was so ridiculous, Kevin. I could not believe it. One of my best tweets ever was I photoshopped his face on a dog the bounty hunter, and it was like, this is just the reality of the situation, and it's absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah, man. I don't even like when I just see it, I laugh, but at the same time, it's like, I can't believe we're here now. It's like just a year ago, all-time highs. Now we're bounty hunters, I guess.
I can't wait to watch the movie on this someday and be able to tell my kids that I lived through this. Right? I was there front row center and watching all this play out. Like, someday it's going to be a badge of honor. Like, holy shit, you were there for the SBF BitBoy hand-to-hand combat. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous, man.
I got my FTX wings right here.
So let's get into some other news as well. A positive piece of news. Today, Fidelity launched their Bitcoin and crypto trading services to its 40 million clients. At this point, with all of the bad news around crypto, I don't know how many of those people are going to be signing up and buying Bitcoin today. But it is cool to see that a lot of these large financial institutions that have been around for many, many, many years are still pushing forward and giving their customers the possibility of buying crypto. So I'm going to still book that as a win. I don't think it's going to have a huge impact on price in the short term, but I do think it is a positive thing long term.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still 100% for self-custody, and parts of me love the Wild West of crypto, but definitely offers a good opportunity for people who are just getting into it and managing those assets. So it's a nice offering.
Yeah, I'm really curious, like the percentage of people getting into crypto in the next decade, how many of them are really going to care about self-custody? Like, right. I think the vast majority are not going to care at all. It's one less thing for them to worry about. I can't imagine trying to explain to my parents how to self-custody crypto, or even to most of my friends my age who don't understand crypto, like explaining to them how to set up a MetaMask, how to use a ledger, them actually setting up, like, I don't think it would go over very well.
For sure.
So there's that. On the financial side of things, not a whole lot coming out this week as far as reports go that are going to move the market. We do have Jerome Powell has a speech on Wednesday. It's not a Fed meeting. He's speaking at a conference, and we're expecting to see, probably some market movement around his speech there. Expectation is he's going to continue to sound hawkish ahead of what should be a 50 basis point hike later in the middle of December. So there's that. There's some market sentiment numbers, but for the most part, no big earnings, no big reports. We kind of have a week or so until the next big report comes out, and then we have some more inflation data middle of the month right before the Fed meeting. So I think it'll probably be a little bit calmer, which usually means that something terrible is going to happen anyways. So, let's just keep our eyes out for that.
Definitely. What is it? You speak too soon? I forget what the word is for it. Foreshadowing.
Yeah, probably bad foreshadowing for the crypto market. And then we have all the issues over in China right now where their COVID lockdowns are back on, and there are protests around that, and that's hitting a lot of tech companies who are, I think I saw Apple's gonna expected to lose $7 billion from plants not working during these COVID lockdowns. So also not great. There's not a whole lot of positive catalysts for the short term, Kevin. So let's get into that, and let's get into a recap of some of the current crypto tokens. Before we get into crypto tokens, let's start with the DXY. I know you always want to start there, and then we can kind of work through everything else from that point.
Absolutely. You actually made a good segue for me, talking about the COVID lockdowns in China right now. So a huge part of the DXY pumping today is 100% because of those fears amid the lockdowns in China. Again, that's JWeb said a lot of tech companies are probably going to get hurt from that. Therefore, the dollar goes up as risk assets come down. Man, I could never say that. But take a look down here. We see that on Tuesday, we hit this 200 EMA, bounce right off of it. And then right again here on Thanksgiving, bounced right off of it. And then we did come down here last night, and it looks like we touched down, and we've had 3 hits on this line right here. So this is offering really great support. And if we can look at the DXY stochastic RSI down here, we're still pretty undervalued. There's a lot of room to the upside. If we go to the weekly, same exact story, tons of room to the upside. And I was just looking at this before the show. Again, I don't know if it's going to play out this way, but this does look like a bull flag come down. Whenever we trade in like this lower highs and lower lows channel, tends to break to the upside. So the only time it didn't actually work was right here, and that was because the inflation data that came out, the CPI data. But with the stochastic RSI being down here, and we're finding support on this line, and we're trading in this similar pattern, I do have confidence that the DXY is going to pump, and we did see a little bit of a pump today. It looks like it's came down a little bit, but yep, that's what I'm looking at for the dollar right now.
Yeah, we don't have inflation data, like I said, for another couple of weeks, so it could definitely be a situation where we see it pump, and then maybe pulls back if we have positive inflation news, or if it's not, then maybe we could see that thing go even higher.
Definitely. And let's take a look at Bitcoin now. So Bitcoin last night, right on the close, it looks like it took a bit of a hit. We dropped from, let's see, this was Sunday. Our close was at about 16.4, and we bounced all the way down to here today to about 15.999. So right at 16K we bounced off of, and we shot up. We did see a little bit of a dump earlier in the day. We can see that the stochastic RSI up here on the daily is pretty overbought. And if we go to the weekly, we're coming down pretty nice. Again, this is the thing about the weekly. It takes 1 week for this to register and for the data to come up. So we could still stay oversold for a good amount of time. Like I said, we stayed oversold here from May till mid-July. So that's like 2.5 months. And with this, it's very possible. One thing I did notice on the daily is as the price is gravitating up, we're also seeing the volumes coming down. This is known as bearish divergence, and most of the time this causes negative price action. And that doesn't surprise me, as we see the stochastic RSI is nice and overbought right now. So we could expect some hit for Bitcoin. There's fears right now whether we're going to see another capitulation event, whether that's minor capitulation, or we see just more bankruptcies and Bitcoin takes a hit. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. Still don't count out the possibility we could reach this 17.5 in a bull trap just to retest that. And we get rejected from that, we come right down. But yeah, nothing too crazy with Bitcoin. Trading sideways, still in this continuation pattern, maybe breaking, testing resistance at it, but nothing too crazy right now.
Okay. Do you still have your, do you have buy orders in place, or do you just have cash waiting? And do you have a spot in mind that you're, hoping to get in at?
Yeah. So I have all my my levels for altcoins. I don't know if I'll be buying much BTC. I just think that the return on investment for a lot of altcoins, such as Chainlink, ADA, the risk reward is more worth it for me than just dumping everything in the Bitcoin, even though it's probably a little bit more stable. But I think that there's really good opportunities for those alts. So my orders are still open. I'm just waiting for them to get filled. And then once they get filled, off the exchange.
Okay. What do you want to go into next?
Let's take a look at ETH. ETH, very similar.
Actually, real quick, while we're still on BTC, if you want to go back to BTC, I know you've been tweeting about like the monthly close. Do you want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, that's literally the most important thing I should have brought up. So I'm going to delete this. We don't need that. So the monthly close is the one thing, this red line right here. And if we look at historical data, we hit here and this pump all the way back in January 2018. And we, again, tested it in December of 2020. We bounced right off of it, and that led us into all-time highs at that time. We never retested it until, June of this year. So that was the June low. And we closed below it, closed above it, and now we're closed way below it. And this line is historic support. But if we don't close above it, support becomes resistance, and that means we either hit this and we come back down, or we just go for the next support and we're free falling. So as of right now, it doesn't look like we're anywhere near closing above it. Let's see, we're at 16K and we need to be at 19.6K. So it's going to take like you're going to need a unicorn, a hope, and a prayer to get to that point. Right now, it does not look like we're going to hit it. And again, that just, to me, that's another indicator that we are going lower and we're going to need to find support at some level. I just don't think it's at 19.6 or current levels right now. I think it's going to be, at least for the time being, 14K right around here, but never negate the fact that it could come lower to this 10K. Any lower than that, I don't really anticipate seeing. I think that might be for those people who are going greedy, maybe a little short too late.
Okay. When, in the past, because I'm still fairly new to crypto, it's only been like almost 2 years for me. When we close on the monthly below a big level of support like that, is it normally a pretty slow, like, is it a slower bleed down to that next level of support, or does it come pretty quickly?
Well, let's take a look. Let's see. So this will look at the 10K level right here. Bounced off that, came down. It looks like for 1 month, it was closed above it. And then when it closed below it, it sank right down. So if we look back here again, this one bled out a little bit slower. I think it's more so based off of what news or what the sentiment is at the moment. Again, a lot of it does have to come with, inflation and CPI. I think December is going to continue to be not the greatest month. Maybe we get some bad news. Maybe we see a capitulation event. But we did make a really big move in the month of November, as we see. FTX just dropped us down a ton. It could just be forming a bottom at this level. And, 14K is the bottom right there. But unless something crazy happens, like minor capitulation or another big exchange goes under, it's going to be straight down.
When you say minor capitulation, do you mean like the Bitcoin miners all like unloading their BTC at the same time kind of a thing?
Yeah, so pretty much the value of Bitcoin becomes not profitable enough where they can pay for the active mining. And it usually affects people who aren't as efficient. So there's some people who are miners who obviously have big money backing them, guaranteed electrical costs and stuff like that. But people who are just trying to mine, small players in the space, they tend to, they can't afford to hold on to that Bitcoin and hopefully offload it in the in the bull market. So they sell, and then that causes other people who are less efficient to sell, and it just spirals pretty much into a point where, there's tons of Bitcoin on the exchange. Okay. That could be another thing where people who have tons of like institutional money could also just like send all their money to like Binance, Coinbase, any of these exchanges, and just a high supply and low demand could also bring the price down. That's another possibility.
Okay. Interesting. All right, cool. Anything else you want to touch on there before we go into ETH?
No, let's go straight to ETH.
All right. Here
we are with Ethereum. Again, very similar to
hold on. I'm guessing you're going to give me a lot of really good news here.
Unfortunately not. So let's put it this way. Last night I shorted ETH at around 1,200. My main goal is just to double up pretty much. And the only way for me to double up means that ETH has to like 50% go down. So that's not good news. Yeah. I've tried to break that to you easy. But again, main levels of support for Ethereum, the one that we keep bouncing right off of is this. It's really thin. Let me make this bigger for y'all. It's this 1083. We just bounce right off of it. We wick off of it. We find support at this level, even though we wick below it. The only time we went under it is actually the June low in this cycle. So it'll be interesting to see that if we do break this, we obviously are going to come down to this June low at 877. And it doesn't make sense. It's double bottom, mainly because Bitcoin put in its bear market low way later. I would anticipate that these altcoins, and since Ethereum is still an altcoin, despite how strong it is in the market, that we see that 40 to 60% range. So let me just grab this. And then from current levels to the level I do think it's going to stop at is around 636, between 600 and $700. That would be 41%. And because Ethereum is so strong, you wouldn't be surprised if it does land at that level and it holds. Could wick below it, could just wick to it and then bounce up. But that seems like a really strong level to me. I mentioned it on the last show. But there are minor support levels here that we're going to have to take out first in order to get there. But that doesn't seem too impossible, in my opinion.
Okay.
And then again, with Ethereum too, very similar to Bitcoin. We can take a look at the weekly, I think it is. As price is going up right here, it's very hard to see. As price is going up, we are seeing bearish divergence. The volume's coming down, and it doesn't surprise me that the daily stochastic RSI, same thing, bearish divergence, price goes up, volume's coming down, and we see that it's overbought. So I do expect some price movement to the downside. We'll see if that support at that 1088, 1083 level holds.
How much do you think that the merge has had to play in the price of ETH not going further down over this, last couple of weeks with it being deflationary now, compared to pre-merge? Do you feel like that has had a pretty sizable impact on ETH's relative strength at the current time?
I think so. Ethereum is not one of my coins that I'm like super excited about, or it's like, I have a massive bag or anything like that. But I did notice that after the merge, transaction fees obviously went down way more. And I'm not sure based on volume that we're seeing, but I think it definitely did have a play with, obviously deflationary assets are always going to, stay stronger than inflationary assets. We look at something like Ethereum versus AVAX. AVAX was super strong in the bull market, but once Avalanche hit the bear market and again continues to be printed, that price has gone down considerably, whereas Ethereum, still holding pretty well comparatively to other alts. So I definitely think it does play a huge factor, but again, no one's safe from the next move I expect. So sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
We're all going to take advantage and be rich after
Where
this.
are we going next?
Let's go to MATIC.
Okay.
MATIC we got right here. I wouldn't be surprised if MATIC comes back into this parallel channel. Again, this is the one that I was talking about that it's been trading in since the June low. And we see that the daily stochastic RSI is about halfway through, so there might be a little bit of room to the upside. Could also just, tank down from here. But I would anticipate it to retest these levels. We're seeing Chainlink actually do that right now, where it pumped up back into its parallel channel. But right now it looks like it's came down a little bit. It's still holding pretty strong. This like 81 cent, 82 cent area, there's some support here. But let's take a look at the weekly. Weekly looks like it's coming down. Let's see right here. Looks like a little bit of bearish divergence, not much. Again, I anticipate another week or so for us to get a fully good read on that. But support remains the same. Break through the support here, you're obviously going to go down to about 64 cents. Break that, it's pretty thin support. Other than that, I would say 40 cents. And then level after that's 30 cents, which would be the double bottom. Might wick below that, might double bottom. That might be the, 29 cents might be the bottom for MATIC. But I definitely think that this is one coin, very much like XRP, where FOMO played a huge role in where it skyrocketed to. And once it breaks out of this channel and it stays out of this channel, we'll probably see a pretty fast whip to the downside. Again, altcoin 40 to 60%, currently from 82 cents down to my level of, let's say, 29 cents. That's actually 64%. So maybe a little bit more than that. Maybe, that would probably be right around there, 60%. I wouldn't be surprised by that. Again, only because it's put its bottom back in June.
This is MATIC's one that I'm going to continue to just slowly accumulate. Like if there are big wicks down, I'll buy some. I don't plan on selling anytime soon. I'm not a trader. I'm a long-term holder, and I still very confident in the partnerships that they're developing, the leadership they're bringing onto their team to run Polygon. Is just, I think it's a really strong one long-term, and I'm not trying to time the bottoms. I'm not as smart as you, Kevin, so I'm just going to be the dumb who keeps slowly accumulating.
You make a great point. Obviously, there's very similar to Ethereum. There's so much built on Ethereum, so I don't expect the price of that to go down. There's actual worth to Ethereum still. Whereas same thing with MATIC, Polygon. People are still building on it, where they're seeing new partnerships. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a tough fight to get to those levels that I'm saying. But at the end of the day, just from the charts. That's what I'm seeing. But again, it's a very strong project. It's very similar to Link. We're seeing Link right now. I'll just go right into it. Link was trading that parallel channel again since looks like this one was going since May, but we broke out of it on the 14th. It's the FTX, dropped from the FTX. Found support at this 553 level. And then in the past day, we actually broke, or not day, but over the past few days, we broke back into this channel. So we're back again in this channel. We're completely overbought on the daily. And it looks like we're pumping today. Like this was up pretty high today. This is it was that high, but maybe it was. The high today was 7.33, so $7.33. Last night it was at 6.53. So 80-cent pump after I shorted. Nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
did you get liquidated there?
No, not at all. So I just sold my position. That was all. I just wanted to double up. I did the same with ETH, but 8 cents above where I sold at, I'm not freaking out. Technical is still telling me much lower. So once it breaks out of this, the daily's oversold. I would anticipate it being through one of these support levels. My target that I'm seeing based off that 60%, that 40-60, let's go here. So I would say between $4.50 and $3.84 might be decent targets, but I wouldn't count out this 291 down here. Again, Link is super strong, so it's kind of hard to tell, but I still expect like a 40% at least drop for Chainlink.
Okay.
Well, Cardano real quick, we just fly right through these. So Cardano was one that I was looking at. We can see that this support right here, this is 32 cents, almost 33 cents. I made this little mock-up right here, green candle, and this is what I was expecting. So obviously, we haven't seen this yet. We might not see it, but I would expect a retest of 32 cent, where it would get rejected, and then it would come down lower. It would also team up fairly well with the daily stochastic RSI. We're looking at it. It looks like it's making its turn to the downside right here. It's very small, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does something similar to like right here where it just bounces back into the overbought. And that would be enough price movement to hit this, get rejected. And then we have a fairly good drop to the downside. I would expect it to go below that. The thing is, next major level of support for me would be 23 cents. So that's a pretty good drop from there. But let's see. Let's go to the weekly and just see how that's looking real quick. Yeah, weekly, that could stay oversold and the price could just continue to plummet. Let's go here. Let's grab current price. Actually, no, not current price. We're going to go from up here to the rejection price to some of our other targets. One target being 18 cents, 18.5 cents. That's 44%. The target I think is very possible would be 16.63 cents. And then the very bottom that I would anticipate would be like 15 cents. Again, that offers great opportunity. Cardano is probably going to be one of the strongest projects going into the next bull run. So I'm not going to try and get too greedy, but at the same time, those are my targets. I just think that there's a huge percentage drop that we still haven't seen for altcoins. And, I'm not trying to time the bottom perfectly, but I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting it at a decent rate. If, buying now, probably going to get hurt a little bit if it drops to those levels that the charts are telling me.
Okay. What do you know what, sort of inputs go into overbought versus underbought? Like what are the inputs that go into the determination of overbought versus underbought for the RSI?
For sure. So what I learned, all I know is if it's above 70, it's overbought. If it's below like 20, 30, then it's oversold. But I do know that the way I have it set up, let me just pull up the settings of this.
But so that 70 number, like what goes into moving it, moving the RSI up and down, 270 or below 70?
Right. Let's see. Can't find it right now, but I actually have a setting on here where it includes the open, the close, the wick, and to the top and bottom of the candle. And that's pretty much what influences the price. I think it's an average or something like that of the move. again, it's a mixture of the price action and the volume, and then along with where the actual price moves within that candle, and that generates some number that moves the stochastic up or down. That's the best I can tell you. I'm not
okay. No, it's good.
I learned one way, and I've actually never questioned it. So that's something I should figure out for the next show.
Always question things, Kevin. Come on.
Oh,
what have we learned over the last few weeks, months?
Keep everything in the exchange, right? That's what I've learned.
Keep everything right in that exchange, because we can totally trust everyone who is running a crypto exchange has our best interest at heart. That's what I've learned.
And if not, BitBoy will kick everyone's ass and get it back.
God, this BitBoy, his character arc really is something. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. Who would play BitBoy in the crypto movie that's going to come out? I'm going to say Kevin James.
That's a good choice. Yeah, that's actually a really good choice. Yeah, probably him. I wouldn't be surprised if they put Zach Galifianakis, but that's no diss on BitBoy. I'm just saying those are two pretty they're big boys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, BitBoy is not exactly a little guy. Okay.
No, that dude is. I'll say he's jacked. Let's put it that way.
He's a big dude. Yeah, man, I just can't wait to see what he does next.
I'm just gonna go through XRP real quick, because this is one coin that really upset me the other day. Just seeing how much it keeps pumping, and I think this one is more or less just FOMO. People are just hoping that when XRP, the SEC case gets settled, this thing's gonna go to the moon. Again, I'm more technical, so even though we're hearing this news and I understand that there's pretty good strength behind this price, I also understand that the majority of people who have XRP are institutional players, and they could just throw that onto the exchange and drop the price super easily. But right now we're seeing the price go up here, and then you can see the volume was coming down, so that's bearish divergence instantly. If we look at the weekly, see if there's anything that's important. Weekly has tons of room still to go down, and the past 2 weeks we've registered 2 green candles, and then right now we're currently red. That's just on today, but the price on the momentum on the stochastic RSI is starting to turn around. I wouldn't be surprised if it either pumps up this week and dumps. I'm not saying it's going to do that like from week to week, but it'll definitely move up and then come down, or it could just, I don't know, where we just dumped completely this week and this was an entire bull trap on this move up. But there's definitely room to the downside. There's momentum to the downside. A lot of coins are currently at that oversold area, but like I said, they can stay under there. This hasn't even hit oversold yet, and we're at 38 cents and 40 to 60% rule. This one from current price down to, let's say, this one down here, this green line, at 17 cents. That's what I was anticipating prior to any pump or anything like that. That's 55% drop. 44% or 42% drop is the 22 cent level. So somewhere in between that range, 22 cents, 17 cents seems feasible to me. I think that more or less this is buy the rumor, sell the news event. Again, I could be wrong, but even if the SEC case does get settled, there's no guarantee that instantly this thing's just going to pump. That could easily just be a pump and dump, and then retail gets destroyed.
Okay,
that's all I got.
All right. What? And Kevin left. So I guess when he said that's all he's got, he meant that he was done for the day. Perfect timing. I'm assuming that was just a little error on his part. But, he's trying to come back just in time for me to wrap it up. So I think that is where we are going to end the show today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please, once again, hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel for more crypto and NFT content if you're into that sort of thing. So for Kevin, for the team over at FLOLiO, I am Jeremy. Have a great day, everybody. We will see you next time.